you coming? Been awake for a while now. You got me feeling like a child now. 'Cause every time I see your bubbly face, I get the tingles in a silly place, stars in my toes, and I crinkle my nose forever.
Narito na ang Alien Talk kasama si Tony Israel.
Is it a plane? Is it a drone? Is it a UFO?
Now and then we all are aliens. Yes, we are. I'm feeling like we don't belong.
Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.
Kapulong Pilipinas, magandang gabi. Ngayon ay Setyembre 25. Hindi pa akong mawala sa pecha, Ed. Sabado, nagbabalik ang Alien Talk. Dahil nagtampo ang Alien Talk yata, Ed. Kaya nabura yung ating channel. Baan! So, nagbabalik ang Alien Talk sa kanyang regular na oras, regular na araw, tuwing linggo, tuwing Sabado, of course, dito lamang sa ating channel, bagong channel, ang ating Kantong Nagising na channel. And of course, ang ating programa ay hindi magsisimula kung wala ang ating partner na si Mang Ardo. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Ed.
Magandang gabi, Kanton. Magandang gabi sa mga kasamahan natin na nakikinig ngayon. At of course, yung mga kasamahan natin na makikinig later.
Maganda itong ating paksa ngayon dahil ito ay bihira lang na pag-uusapan pa. Madalas ay nakafocus yung ating atensyon doon sa paharmali, yung mga kumita, yung sinagasaan, ginahasa, ilang beses na ginahasa hanggang sa maluray ang sambayan ng Pilipino.
Ginisa ng sariling mantika.
Ginisa sa sariling mantika. Hindi lang talagang gisa talagang nilubog. Hindi pa magkasya. Talagang nilunod pa sa kumukulong mantika. Ang sambayan na itong mga walang hiyang parmali na ito. Hindi na magkamayaw, hindi na nagkasya sa isang Porsche. Bumili pa ng dalawa. Binibiro mo naman. Walang kabusugan. Abuso talaga ginawa. At ito bang mga pagtutol natin, na tayo tumututol na baka dumating yung punto na di-digitalize yung vaccine passport. Tapos kapag may vaccine passport ka na, i-incorporate na dyan yung tinatawag na social merit system, na kapag meron kang nagawang hindi ka aya-aya o hindi according dun sa protocol, according dun sa social recommendations ng isang compliant citizen, ay mababawasan yung iyong matatanggap. Kasi ayon kay Daddy Klaus Schwab, you don't want anything but you will be happy. Ini-assure naman yan na magiging happy tayo.
like a cow that is already fattened, like a pig that is being fattened,
Ayan.
pinapataba, yung
Pinapataba.
tuwang-tuwa kasi kain at
Pinapatin.
kain.
Ayan.
Pagkatapos, dinadala naman to the slaughter.
Yung nagpapakain sa atin, yung din ang papatay. Okay. Itong ating programa ay sabay napapakinggan sa Telegram. Binamati ko si Mercy. Of course, na dyan si ating kaibigan na si Linda Nucom, si Ma'am Linda, at si Len or si Lon. Malayo, hindi ko makita. Pasensya na po. At siyempre ako nagkasakit eh. Nagkasakit ako. Kaya medyo nangyayari. Oo. At pinasasalamatan ko siyempre pinadala na ko ni Cynthia, na ating kaibigan ni si Cynthia, ng Quantumin Plus. Thank you.
Ano yan?
Quantumin Plus, susubukan ko pa to. Food supplement ito eh. Food supplement. At pinadalan din ako ng aking pinsan na si Francis Kokoy ng Imuregen food supplement din. May susubukan ko kaling yung dito, no? Hindi ko naman pwedeng pagsabay. Kasi pag pinagsabay ko, tapos parehong tapos ang isa dito yung mabisa, hindi ko alam kung alin dun.
Which. Ano yan? Para sa, yung
Alin?
poops, yung problema mo.
Nagkaroon kasi ako ng digestive imbalance. Digestive disorder.
Politically correct statement.
The English way.
So, sa Bisaya pa, kalibang.
Naibus na digestive disorder. Pinadalan ako ni Cynthia ng food supplement na Quantumin Plus. Pinapatak lang daw ito sa tubig. At itong tablet naman na Imuregen, Immune Plus. Ito produkto na inaano ni Dr. Oclarit ito. Subukan natin yan. And nagkaroon ng stomach cramps. Talagang ang problema eh. Kaya sabi, kapag may stomach cramps ka, it could be liver problem, pwede rin na gallbladder, sabi ni Francis Tanseco. Kasi nung nagkaroon ako ng appendicitis, stomach cramps din talaga yung nagdudulot ng pain. No? So, okay naman na.
Pero maganda yung kung liver, yung sinabi ni Doc Harry na yung NAC, the N-acetylcysteine, maganda daw yung para protektahan ng liver mo. And normally, pag sa nabasa ko, yun ang I don't know kung mayroon bang injectable yan or tablet form. Pero yun ang ginagamit pag may infection yung internals mo dahil sa sakit.
Okay.
And normally, isa sa mga inaatake yung liver eh.
Okay. So
anyway, that's not our topic for tonight. It's a different matter altogether.
Yes, and I'd like to thank again Cynthia Concepcion and my cousin Francis Pira for these products. Siguro nakausap mo si Ma'am Montague, ha?
Pero he has been, I think he's busy. Kasi, she's been silent for the last few days.
After that interview last week, some friends are encouraging us to do at least once a month a foreign guest to join us in one of our episodes.
Akala ko yung guest natin ngayon today or tonight is an Argentinian actress who is now into
UFO. I was not sure if I could board tonight because of the, hindi ko alam yung magiging stable ako yung medical ako.
You feel uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, kaya I could not make a confirmation. Okay, so ang paanoin natin bago natin talakayin niya. Nais ko lang patunayan itong English ka pantun balaktot naman eh.
Dalawa.
Patugtugin ko muna itong ni Uncle Schwab para magkaroon tayo ng idea, no? Na yung kanyang model. Dahil talaga daw hindi na ito mapipigilan eh. Itong si Klaus Schwab, siya po yung leader ng World Economic Forum At dyan sa World Economic Forum, nabubuo yung mga konsepto na kabilang na dyan, yung ID 2020, yung pagbabakuna, at iba-iba pang mga bagong ideya na magdudulot ng pagbabago sa takbo ng ating daigdig.
And many of the things I talked about were considered to be fiction, far away in the future. But ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, the future is already here. The future has begun. It's a new system. It changes us because it's a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological spheres. It's an integration of those spheres. Just think of sensors planted into our brains. The opportunities are immense, and we have to prepare ourselves already now.
Ayan, Eda, we have to prepare ourselves already now. Think of a future where sensors can be planted in your brains. Ay, may plinas doon na GO, yung mga particles na sasabihin na pinaniniwalaan na kasama doon sa tinurok sa atin, etc., etc., etc. Hindi ba itong mga ganitong senaryo ay napaka-scary? Dito, sige.
Scary.
Ano? Scary?
Hindi naman.
Hindi.
Takot ka? Hindi.
Sige.
Yeah, I think the evolution of, sabihin na lang natin yung evolution, the movement of the way our industry progresses through time. Talagang there is sabi nila in terms of development, there is always, it is moving forward, moving higher and moving forward. So yung progress ganon. So I mean, itong sinasabi ni when you mentioned to me na itong si Santa Klaus Schwab na is discussing this particular topic, the integration of the physical, the biological, and the digital into in other words, the removal of the boundaries between these three the three aspects of development in science and in technology, with the biological and the biological sciences, the different the boundaries that separates them are now integrated. It is now seamless. Wala nang boundary yan. So that means that they can be integrated together. But this idea of Santa Claus Schwab, hindi naman to original para sa akin. I don't think this is original because as early as 1980, if you remember, Canton, itong futurist na si Alvin Toffler.
Yes.
You remember in 1980, si Alvin Toffler came up with the book Third Wave.
Yeah, may book
So
ako niyan.
his idea was that remember that's 1980. So he was already talking about what is happening now. The information highway, the information age, the industrial revolution, automation, robotics, artificial intelligence. So lahat ito. So what I can say is that it's not Klaus Schwab is not the original proponent of this idea. It was Alvin Toffler. If you go back to 1980 when he wrote the book The Third Wave, nandun na yun. It's already integrated into the book. That's a 400 pages yung libro na yan, ata eh. And I read that probably 2 or 3 times.
Napakahirap unawain that time.
Oh, very kasi very technical eh. The descriptions were very technical that you have to go back and try to understand what he was trying to.
It's very hard to visualize.
So sinasabi niya, basically yung sinasabi niya is that there are three waves that help humanity progressed through time. The first wave was the agricultural wave, the agriculture.
Mhm.
The when humanity started to plant crops, on a cycle, na they don't need to worry about going different places kasi pag hunter ka lang, hunter gatherer ka lang, you have to parang nomad ka diyan. You have to look for where the game is, where you can gather the food in the different seasons. But once you started planting in through the agricultural technologies, you tend to stay in one place. And by staying in one place, dumadami yung tao diyan. So you have to come up with organizations to coordinate the activities of the agricultural community. So that was the first wave that brought progress to humanity. And then the second wave was the discovery and use of the steam, no? Kasi na-discover nila yung steam engine using uh, boiled water, the steam that comes out of
Yes.
boiled water. And they started using that to automate or make the
Mechanic,
operation of machines faster by
mechanical.
connecting it with steam engines. Like
Mm.
the original trains in the olden days were all steam driven, no?
Yes.
So nakita mo yung umuusok na puti,
Mm.
steam yun, ano? So and then you put in coal and the it hits the water within the engine, and that the steam comes out. It's the one that drives the wheel of the train, and yun, tumatakbo na.
Correct.
So with the advent of the steam engine, industries started to proliferate in the cities, because normally the industrial development is concentrated in a concentrated area. So where there are rivers, where the cities, normally cities are formed in rivers. So madaling mapasukan, madaling mag-deliver, mag-pick up, mag-deliver, etc. So doon. So the railroad starts developing, especially in the UK, no, where the industrial steam revolution started. So railroads started going to London, to the different cities, and brought the people to the cities. They started people, and of course that started the slowdown of agriculture because people would now like to work in factories. So yun ang the second wave is the introduction of the steam engine, and then this was replaced later on by electricity, etc. And then the third wave that was being mentioned by Alvin Toffler was the information age, the coming of the computers, the digitization of
Mhm.
information, the
And yeah.
development of automated artificial intelligence, etc. So that became the third wave. Ang kay ko naman, ito kay Charles Schwab, tinawag niyang, he is calling it another name, but what he's saying is the first revolution is the development of kasi it's a fourth revolution, the revolution of the fourth stage, or the
Mm.
fourth revolution. So the first revolution is basically the steam engine, and then the second revolution is the factories that came out,
Yes, yes.
yung assembly type, the Henry Ford type of assembling cars, yung mga mass production.
Yes,
And
yes.
then we have the third wave, and the third industrial revolution is the coming of the computers, the information age, and the coming of the different factories that produces the computers, the digitals, yung transistors, yung miniaturization,
Yes.
etc. And ngayon, the fourth revolution is integrating all of the uh, the different aspects of humanity, the physical, the biological, and the digital.
Okay,
Now,
bago mag-proceed tayo dyan, Ed, at ay highlight ko lang muna rito, according dito sa ating graphics, na yung industry number one, o yung first wave, o yung according kay Schwab na model, yung
industrial revolution,
industrial age, yung introduction ng steam engines,
Engine,
steam factories. Ito yung nandun sa 1800, ano? And then, nung nasa 1900 na nandun na yung mass production, nung pumasok tayo sa 20th century, ito nang sinasabi mga automation, computers and electronics. Ngayon sa 21st century na, ano ba tayo ngayon? 21st or 22nd?
we are
21st.
in the 21st century.
Ah.
Yun ang, I think that was the mistake of this guy who was trying to interpret Nostradamus. He thinks that if it is 19th century, 19 something yan. Mali, 18th century. But
So
18th,
every 100 years, merong
Ah.
revolution na nangyayari. According dun sa model na yan. Yun lang naman. Tayo ngayon ay nandun sa 21st century. Introduction nga nitong integration ng physical, baka siguro material, and then the biological, by which ito sigurong vaccination is a form of this biological construct na ginagawa ngayon, and of course yung digital.
in a sense, sa akin, when you were asking me about ano bang direksyon na pupunta itong nangyayari ngayon, ang sabi ko sa iyo, actually the innovations, the progress towards the future
It's always
can have a good outcome. It could come up with a good outcome. The problem is that the people who are administering this or who are involved in moving humanity, civilization towards this future, depende yan sa kanilang morality, depende sa kanilang agenda, depende sa kanilang mga goals.
Kasi
So, if you have the dark cabal, ipakaliwa tayo dyan. Pero if you have those people who are really up to the welfare of mankind, pakanan yan.
gaya nga nung introduction ng locomotive, ng mga railroads. Of course, maraming rejection yan, mga rejection. Tama, rejection, ang tawag nito, yung mga contravening perspective o idea na ayaw nilang i-introduce yan dahil yung kanilang territory ay matitreaten kapag accessible na sa railroad, etc. But still, hindi na talaga nila maiwasan yung introduction ng mga ganitong advancement, no? Gaya na lang panahon na sa China, ayaw nila na threat sa kanila yun. They considered yung mga introduction ng railroads ay isang threat. Pero wala silang magawa. They have to oblige and kailangan nila talagang mag-install ng mga railroads, mga relays. So yun yung naging idea na hindi na maiwasan. Pero nandoon of course yung idea na magkakaroon nga ng threat. Each time change is introduced. So change cannot be introduced conveniently all the time.
Well, you have to understand, even if you look at history, the spread of the Roman Empire was actually assisted by the introduction of the road system. I mean, the Romans were one of the most prolific road building empire in the world. So they build all kinds of road from as far west as to France, to Spain, and all the way to the Middle East, even around the Mediterranean. Because it makes moving the army to keep the peace within the empire. They have to move army at a fast pace. But of course, by introducing the road, you also bring into the far regions the people from cities who would like to exploit the rural areas. It's easy for them to move in the same manner na yung mga rural people would like to move into the cities. So there are good and bad perspectives of.
Depende na lang siguro kung paano ito i-utilize and to whose advantage. Kapag ito ay na-utilize na and comes into its own implementation, kung kailan nga ito may implement, sino makikinabang?
In the modern area, meron akong mga kinakausap noon when there were plans to develop highways into the southern part of the Philippines into Mindanao, Basilan, Sulu, ganon. Ayaw, people there did not want the roads to be built. Primarily because it would make it easy for military to penetrate the area.
That's right.
No? So it was not a development, the economic development of the area that they were thinking of, but rather the fear that with the roads that are being built, it could easily bring in military occupation or military attacks.
Oh,
So
gaya
ganun
na,
din. Ganun. I mean, ancient time, ganun din. Ngayon, ganun din ang problema.
gaya
So
nito, no?
progress will always bring in two aspects to it, the good and the bad.
And the ugly. Yeah. Ito sabi,
Oh,
we must develop a comprehensive and globally shared view of how technology is affecting our lives and reshaping our economic, social, cultural, and human environments. Eh, matagal na naman naapektuhan dito, di ba Ed? Marami na nagbago. Pero yung pace ng pagbabago, eh parang occurring naturally lang. Hindi tayo tinulak na magkaroon ng abrupt change, kundi binabayaan lang tayo kung paano tayo mag-adapt dun sa technology and how change occurs according to how we adapt these technologies. Pero hindi tayo tinulak na, uy, gawin nyo na kaagad yan. Kundi,
the biggest problem,
pero kung
the biggest,
halimbawa,
ito, go
sige,
ahead. Ikaw na.
kung halimbawa, kung mag-i-introduce sila ng technology na lalagyan tayo ng neurons o mga tawag nito, mga electrode sa ulo para mabasa yung ating iniisip o papasukan tayo ng mga chips, etc. etc. It's something na intrusive naman yan eh. Hindi natin ito katanggap-tanggap sa panahon natin ngayon. It should take a while bago ito ay maging acceptable technology.
Because there will always be those who are
Resistance.
there will always be people against technological advances. There will be people who are accepting of the progress given by the advanced technology. Take for example ngayon, we may not realize it, but the cell phone that we are using now is a technology that has been existing only for the last 40 years. The last 40. The first cell phone that we had in the 90s were big ones. Yung bang shoulder bag pa, may battery pang,
May backpack.
laki pang backpack na battery yan. Naabutan ko pa yan. But so our cell phone has been around only for 30 years. Pero that cell phone that you're holding now has the power, more powerful than the computer that was used to land the astronauts in the moon.
Ganun ba?
So try to imagine that. Your cell phone now has more power in that cell phone that you're holding than the computer that was used landing that spacecraft to the moon.
I see. Nako.
Oh, so that is that it is progress. But
pero
what you do also realize, ito, as I said, there is always there are two aspects of the good and the bad. By having that cell phone, you are easily tracked. Alam kung saan ka because of the GPS. You will use that for Facebook or whatever, ma-track ngayon kung anong gusto mo. In other words, if they start tracking you and gathering data about you, they will know more about you than you know about yourself.
Tama ka dyan.
Yan ang sinasabi nila ngayon. Because we are now when the computer started, the cell phone started, that is actually a portable computer. You are now putting in that one piece of equipment all the activities in your life. Lahat, yung mga especially the young generation, bawat galaw nila selfie, bawat picture, etc. They're putting in that cell phone all their life, the activities that they do in their life. And this is tracked and this is gathered by data mining web bots in the internet na access ito, na aggregate na 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 concentrate, na aggregate, categorize. That's why I say that other people may know more about you than you know about yourself.
Now, ito gaya nito Ed, ito yung magiging outcome niyan. Itong crewless, world's first crewless zero emissions cargo ship will set sail in Norway. Ito, Internet of Things na ito, IoT, IOT, na hindi na kailangan ng maraming crew member. Siguro dahil pati yung navigational niya, pwedeng paanda rin ng GPS, and yung technology nito ay drone technology. Di kulang na, wala nang crew. So pero gaya natin, marami tayong pinadadalang mga marino, tripulante, mawawalan ng trabaho.
That is one aspect of progress. That has always been the effect of progress. That people with old skill will lose the capability to market themselves to provide the service, because the service that they provide is no longer needed.
Gaya natin, di ba? Usong-uso yung meron pang eskwela nung araw sa Manila, yung Greg's Business School. Yan ay nagtuturo ng mga typists sa Greg's. Stenography.
Yan.
Typing, secretarial. Wala na yun ngayon.
Ito sabi ko sa I've been mentioning this in several of our programs. Unfortunately has been deleted. But in our previous podcast, I have mentioned that we are moving into what we will now call the science fiction world. So if we are moving into a science fiction world, like some call it the Star Trek economy, the statement of Santa Klaus Schwab is correct in a sense that you don't own anything, but you will be happy. In a sense that if we are going into the science fiction world or the Star Trek economy, you will not need anything. What do you need? Shelter. Shelter can be 3D printed or 4D printed. No, in other words, even now they can already start 3D printing shelters, houses. In fact, that's what they are developing for colonization in Mars. So either you have the inflatables or you have building using the material in Mars to 3D print shelter, yung mga dome-shaped na printers, structures. So you don't need shelter. If you have food, yung 3D printers ngayon are starting to print biological items. In fact, they have already started printing yung tenga, anything that is cartilage-based. Pwede nila i-print. So eventually, it will come out na yung replication technology na nakikita mo sa Star Wars, pwede na yan. Now, if you have a portable replicator for the home, you don't need anything. Why do you need food? No, you don't have to buy food kasi it's already there. You just order a cup of coffee, a bowl of sabaw, or fried chicken. Bibigay na yan. Mag-reproduce na yan. Now, electricity, power. Why do you need power? If you can be given already fusion energy. There is fusion portable. Yung maliliit na, sabihin natin, box. So, yung sinasabi ni Charles Schwab, if given the proper perspective of the good, talagang maganda yun. And, ang problema ngayon is if the intention is bad.
Ay, siyempre, hindi naman siguro niya sasabihin yan kung wala siyang foreknowledge na yung technology na yan ay potentially available already or available na pero hindi pa lang ini-introduce.
You don't have to go far, Canton. In YouTube ngayon, take for example Elon Musk. We call Elon Musk ngayon, ano ba siya? Black hat or white hat? May hidden agenda ba siya? Wala. But all the technology that he is now developing, one, yung Neuralink niya. Neuralink, the Neuralink is yung sinasabi that you will be implanted with a sensor with electrodes, very thin electrodes, that could be connected to a computer.
Ah.
Now, the idea of Wi-Fi, since this is already Wi-Fi, may connect sa ulo mo, naka-Wi-Fi na yan, it could be connected to the computer. But there is now a development that computers will eventually become AI, artificial intelligence. So humans now, through the Neuralink or through the biomechanical interface, can now
Ah.
interact with the artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
There is, in other words, the boundary between human and a computer is now seamless.
Hmm.
Sinasabi niya that eventually all of the different spheres of the biological, the physical, and the digital will become one, integrated
Integrate.
into one.
Ah,
Oh.
ah.
Now, the digital aspect is that, remember, there are now very big storage farms all over the world being led by Google, by Facebook.
Hmm.
These are giant computer storage devices.
Ah, computer.
And this
Okay.
is what we call clouds.
Mm,
No?
mm,
We call
mm,
this clouds.
mm.
Sabi mo, oh, saan ko i-store tong kwan? Saan ko i-store tong aking mga litrato? Ay, doon na sa Google Drive, OneDrive. Oh, integrate doon.
In
This
fact,
is, yun ang tawag nilang cloud. But actually, it's not a cloud. It's not up there. It's actually in one of the storage facilities that is it is intended only for storage information.
in fact, itong broadcast natin ngayon, cloud-based to.
Hindi naman to cloud-based. This is, sinasabi natin, the term cloud is a misnomer because the the location of the storage device is not in the cloud. It is here in on Earth. It's in a warehouse. It's in a big
Ah.
building with air conditioning, and because this will generate a lot of
Mm,
electricity. But what I'm saying is that with all the data that is now being accumulated and being gathered and being aggregated, synthesized, analyzed, categorized, you now need to come up. In other words, you will now need something artificial to know all this data, to be able to analyze all of this data at a very fast pace. And that is why artificial intelligence has been
mm, mm.
growing. Because it is only a very fast artificial intelligence, not a human. I don't think there is any human that will be capable of analyzing all the data of the world except artificial intelligence.
Yan, tapos nandiyan na nga rin yung quantum computing, ano, para,
Well, there are people who says that is all fake because there is
wala
no
na.
such thing as quantum. But
Mm,
anyway,
okay.
if we assume that there is such, in fact, you don't even need to go into a quantum computing because sabi nila, our storage is the silicon, di ba? Yung platter ngayon yung sinatawag lang
Chip.
storage device, SDD.
Ah,
Yung flat, yung parang USB. Yung USB is a storage device.
mm,
Eventually, there are certain materials like crystals, quartz crystals, that has the capability to store all the data that you will acquire in your lifetime and more in one storage device. Imagine that from the time that you were born until the time that you die,
mm.
all the things that you do are stored in that one crystal storage device.
Eh
In other
di,
words, if everything that you do, everything that you think, everything now you connected. Imagine this: you're now connected with that sensor in your head
ah,
that will give you information and that can also extract information. So, ano yung iniisip mo, nakukuha din niya. And this is
download.
tied to the cloud. And if it is tied up to the cloud, to Wi-Fi or other wireless uh, system or device, then it becomes
Stored
your
there.
life is now
Storage.
stored. Now, if you want a private storage, you can have that crystal device, and all your life will be stored there. So, if your life is stored there and you are transferred to a mechanical robot, is
Pwede.
that you?
Ayun na yun.
Yun ang tanong ko.
Yan,
Di
yan,
ba?
Interesting,
So yung sabi
interesting.
mo, so eventually we should start. This is the trans eugenic. This is the trans eugenic
Humanism. Hindi.
program that is now becoming a reality.
Hmm.
It's there. When you say na, is it there already that we do not recognize? It's there. Di ba
Hmm.
pinakita na ni Elon Musk yung amo na nagpipingpong na using the computer, using his mind. Oh. Ganun yun.
Nabanggit na tungkol dun sa storable, yung life
Data.
experiences mo,
Correct.
yung life data mo, nandiyan dyan na. Di parang, ito yung pinag-uusapan nating Akashic Records, ano? Similar, ano? Di ba? Sinasabi kasi may Akashic Records.
Oh.
Parang
The
gano'n na rin.
The only difference that ang understanding natin sa Akashic is that it stores data not only of the present but also the past. In other words,
Hindi
all
yan,
the
no?
lifetimes from the beginning up to the, it's infinitum ad infinitum.
Oh.
Ang sa atin is limited to our lifetime. Kaya yung device na storage na yan, that is what you call the IOTA.
Ayun.
The Internet of Things. What are the Internet of Things? I don't think the automated vessel cargo ship is an IOTA. It is not. The term IOTA, when you define that these are an IOTA, small, mga maliliit. So, what is considered IOTA? Like yung, di ba may mga, kung meron kang anak, may baby ka, nilagay mo na sa kwarto, gusto mong marinig kung mag-iiyak yun, lalagay mo yung parang walkie-talkie. Meron kang isang phone doon sa tabi ng baby mo, tapos ikaw nasa kwarto, so marinig mo kung iiyak. That's an IOTA. Yung any device, like yung security camera, CCTV, connected, any device that is connected to the internet is considered now an IOTA.
Okay.
So,
Tapos nabanggit mo rin nga yung mga augment. Okay.
o yung tingnan mo na, yung sinasabi mo na yung cargo vessel that is going to start operating from Norway sometime in the future, near future. There is already a vessel doing that. Do you know what vessel? Yung mga barges na naglalanding yung rocket ni Elon Musk. Those are automated barges. Walang tao yun.
Unmanned pala yun, ha?
O, parang drone ship yun. Kaya tawag nila nun, drone barge.
Okay.
Diba? So, in the same manner that you have the drone aircraft, which is used for killing innocent people. Or sometimes they think terrorists.
Naano ko rin to, no? Kasi nga, sabi mo parang with the advent of things that are already available, technology nandiyan dyan na, parang hindi na imposible na mangyari ito. So, yung social contact natin, pwede tayong hindi na magbiyahe. Nagagawa natin ngayon sa pamamagitan nito, no? Yung parang Zoom, face-to-face tayo, digital form.
Digital interface.
Kung maisasakatuparan na yung lalagyan tayo ng electrode sa ulo, and then magkatotoo yung tulad ng pelikula ni Schwarzenegger, yung virtual reality na gusto kong mag-travel sa Paris o sa Rome. Pwede na yan, papasok kayo dun sa loob ng computer. And then magre-rendezvous ka ng isang mong kasama o kaibigan mo, girlfriend mo, boyfriend mo, from another country or from another place. Doon na kayo magkikita, doon sa virtual reality sa loob ng computer.
Well, that used to exist way back in the late 90s. There was what we call the palace. Merong mga palaces noon. Where you have avatars. You create your own avatar and then you interact with people, you talk. Merong parang text na lalabas. That was a cool way. Ngayon, it's already audio and visual.
Actual.
No?
Pero kung
eventually if they are now developing what we call yung skin, yung parang
Ah,
gamitin mo na you can feel if somebody yung kausap mo will touch will in digital environment will touch you, you feel the touch. Kung suntukin ka, ma-feel mo yung suntok.
tama. Oo.
Oh, yan that's
Ang
virtual reality, but these are already, in other words, realistic virtual reality.
So ang sinasabi na even if you don't own anything but you could still be happy. Kasi lahat naman talaga nasa mental state natin, di ba? Happiness is a mental state. Experiences are a mental state. And you tend to own things because you enjoy using these things. But kapag yung sensation, yung connectivity mo dun sa mga physical objects na pag-aari mo, nagagamit mo, nare-realize mo rin, magagawa mo rin, pero doon sa cloud o doon sa loob ng isang installation na tulad ng computer, it would be as if na nagawa mo o ginawa mo.
Oh, imagine this. Okay, imagine this.
Tayo ganito, ginagawa natin ito, pero ito, lilipas din ito pagkatapos ng program natin. Experience na lang ito.
Let me explain this in a actual example. In Japan ngayon, they have what they call the they call it the house dolls. Some call it the sex dolls.
Okay.
Noon, made of balloons lang yun. Yung parang
Inflatable.
beach balls, i-blow up mo tapos. But ngayon, if you will look at the internet, the advances being made in developing these dolls, these special dolls, is this ay hyper, in other words, lahat na processes ginawa nila is to create somebody that really looks, feels, and acts like a human. So there is now manufacturing plant in Japan that can give you any, if you like, sino yung artistang mukhang gusto mo, they will make that doll for you. But that doll now can talk, can act, can move,
Can cook.
like a person. Because they are merging artificial intelligence, mechanics, robotics, and the artificial skin, yung katawan niya, the behavior of that doll is like a person. And you know how much is the cheapest one? You can buy one for $350,000.
Wow, baka pangit pa yan. Pagka pangit, pagka maganda, magmamahal yun.
Pero you can imagine it. That is an artificial intelligence that has a computer. If you have a girlfriend, let's say, in Europe or somewhere else, tapos i-connect niya yung sarili niya doon sa DAL. Yung DAL nasa present sa'yo. Ano na mangyari na? Just play with it. Could be that. Why not? No? It's possible. So, a lot of things is possible
And
now.
vice versa, di ba? Gagawa rin siya ng...
Oo.
Parang na rin kayong nagkaanuhan, di ba?
Oo. I mean, usually, kung ayaw maniwala kayo, you go to YouTube
Pero
and then look for Japanese.
Yun naman nandun yan sa integration ng physical and the digital.
So what is the physical? The physical is the material.
Yung akin naman, kung papasok ka doon sa computer, gamit yung tinatawag na virtual reality, as if everything is happening around you, na katotohanan, no? And then, ikaw, papasok ka rin doon, mag-uusap tayo, papasok ka doon sa chatroom, magkikita tayo na as if talagang totoo. Nung nagko-confront tayo, we have the same, we are seeing the same things around us, the same furniture.
Let me,
di ba? Kasi parang tayo nandun sa loob ng computer. Ngayon, papasok kayo ng idea ng matrix yan, Ed.
Ito muna, let me explain muna the different stages. I-consider natin itong talking in the internet. Ito, nasa monitor ka, through our microphone, kwentuhan tayo, audio. So, I see you, but you're a 2D picture. 2D ka.
2D.
Eye and LED. Okay. So, this is the first, sabihin natin, the first stage of computer interaction, virtual reality.
Hmm.
The second virtual reality is yung gumagamit ka ng
Goggles.
tawag nilang goggles. Oo.
Okay.
Wherein
Sige.
nasa harap ka lang, parang nasa harap ka lang kausap
Uh-huh.
kayo. Oo. And the third one is itong ginagawa nila ngayon na yung interface mismo, yung nakakonect ka mismo sa computer as if you are already there.
Tsaka parang ano na yun, Ed, yung siguro pinakamagandang paraan para ma-explain ito o parang manufactured or yung pre-ordered na dream. Yung
Pwede na.
panganaginip na pwede mong i-order, ito gusto kong mangyari. I
Well,
want to
yung
see
Total Recall, that's the movie Total Recall.
total recall. Ganun.
Gusto mo ng memory, you would like a certain memory.
Ah,
Mag-plug in ka lang. Because once you are plugged in, meron kang electrodes na naka-implant sa utak mo. They can already, everything is digital. Digital na yan eh. That's 0 and 1. So, they can give you memories and implant it in your head.
tama.
So, you will think na, oh, I've been able to go to Mars. So, nga pala, nakapunta na ako ng Mars. Your memory will tell you that you have gone to Mars. When in fact, it is just implanted.
So, parang wala nang ano to, ibig sabihin, namimiss mo yung akin, namimiss ko nanay ko, halimbawa. Pwedeng, wala nang
in fact, sa movie,
gusto kong makita si mami. O, sige, pagpunta kayo, magkatagpo kayo na sa ganito.
even your dead parents, pwedeng i-create yan.
Oo. And then it gives you the sensation,
Everybody.
real world sensation. Diba?
But when the future progresses or advances, it will also lengthen our life cycle. Eh. So, kasi alam nang what will happen is that they understand the genome, the DNA of the person, what is bad and what is good. So, remove the bad, continue the good. But if the administrator of the world are bad, they will make sure that you will only have a limited lifetime. When you become a useless ka, automatic ka na parang yung there is a clock in your life. And then if that becomes 0, yun ang nakakatakot. If you will be given a total time for the whole life, and then you earn more by working, and if you stop earning, that starts reducing until it becomes 0. Once 0, you die. There is a movie with that idea. In fact, there was also another movie na yung sinabi mo na i-implant yung memory. Yung isang tao, in that particular story, this is movie fiction becoming reality. So in this particular movie, the person became addicted. Kasi ang pinabalik-balik niya na scene at saka ma-feel niya kasi tumatakbo talaga sa utak na niya. Yung orgasm sa sex. It becomes pabalik-balik lang hanggang nabuang siya. So there's a good, there's a bad to it. So there has to be limitations. Another good movie is Netflix, alternate carbon or alternative carbon. Yung you extend your life, your life, your soul, I don't know, your consciousness is that in a disk, and that's the iota, the disk. And then if you die, that disk, as long as it is not destroyed, can be transferred to another body, to another clone. So a lot of things in a sci-fi world. You can live, allow your imagination to go free, and everything that you can think of can happen or can be done or will happen.
Kaya siguro dito unti-unti may explain na yung matrix, yung theory ng matrix. Kasi mga well-known physicists, sinasabi nila talaga daw nandito daw tayo sa loob ng isang computer. Nasa loob daw tayo ng isang computer program. Yung pinag-usapan lang natin kanina, kung ilalagay nga tayo ng electrodes at papasok tayo sa isang computer program, magkikita tayo dun sa loob, dun sa tinatawag natin nung araw, nung hindi pa uso, yung chat-chat na ay merong mga avatar.
Ayun, oo.
Puro alias yung gagamitin natin. Hello! Ganon. At tungkol naman dun sa nakakatakot yata yung Edna, wala kang aariin, wala kang pag-aari, pero magiging happy ka. Kung nandun ka nga naman sa computer world na yan, yung dun sa computer system na yan, papasok ka, ay kung gusto mo ng Lamborghini, yung Porsche, hindi mo na kailangan magnakaw ng billion-billion sa sa gobyerno gamit ang Parmali. Dahil pwede ka mag-drive ng Porsche, pwede ka mag-drive ng Lamborghini according dun sa program na gusto mong sali.
Magkano benta niya yung Lamborghini na yan?
18.5 18.5 million lang. Sabi ng mga yan.
Kay di ba may Lamborghini rin siya, no? Yung favorite mo na actor.
Sino yan?
Yung asawa ni Kuan, yung Manny, hindi Manny Villar. Ano yun? Never mind, kalimutan.
Anyway,
anyway, the point is,
siguro to Ed, pero yun na nga, base siguro sa social merit system, kasi ngayon na hindi ka pwedeng pumunta dun sa lugar na yan dahil bad boy ka. May mga ganun naman din, pwedeng gamitin.
Ang naman nila is that when we go into the future, there will be jobs that will disappear, there will be jobs that will come out. The problem is that how well can the old workers adjust themselves to the new job or to the new environment? And more often than not, they will not. So these people are the one that has to be taken care of. Ang problema, if you have a bad administration, may masamang agenda, they don't want to take care of this because these are just useless eaters. So the people who will lose their job because of the progress of the economy and this civilization, hindi na they cannot work anymore because ang abilidad na nakuha nila is no longer needed. Everything is becoming digital talaga. Even the alam mo, isa sa mga mawala yung kung talagang tutuusin, kung ipalaganap yung chain block and saka i-tie up with artificial intelligence.
Blockchain.
No, yung blockchain, chain block. Blockchain, yeah, right. Anyway, if you integrate that with artificial intelligence, there is no need anymore. Contracts will be made by the computer. There's no need for attorneys because contracts will be, yung sinabi ni Santa Claus Schwab na smart contracts. Elections, if properly, if it is blockchain and then AI, you will always come up with the correct result of the elections, not manipulated, kasi nakikita mo yung data doon sa blockchain, no? Pwedeng makita yan. So the biggest problem really is the old. The biggest problem is the old and what to do. The new ones will have to ang problema is we have the old, the existing mature, and then the young generation. It is the young generation that is going to take over
Tama.
the scientific economy, the sci-fi world. It is the young ones. And I don't know, maybe that's why we do not want these young ones to be put in a hazardous situation where they might lose their life. This is the future. Yung sinasabi talaga, anong sabi ni Rizal? Di ba? Ang mga bata ay ang
kabataan ay ang pag-asa ng bayan.
Ang pag-asa ng bayan, no? Mga kabataan ay ang pag-asa ng bayan. And these are the people, these are the children who are now in grade school, in high school, in college. The working class ngayon is just carrying over. They're the ones transitioning to the modern world. Tayong matatanda, we're trying to adapt ourselves to what is developing. Pero many of us, you and I probably will able to adjust as much as we can. But others may not. Others may not. Yun ang problema ngayon. Those who cannot adapt, what are they going to do? Diba? Now, yung sinabi mo na you will have everything and you will be happy. Why not? In other words, then you can pursue what you love to do.
Mm.
If we love to broadcast, then we will broadcast all day.
Mm. Kung gusto
Ano?
mong magarang studio, edi bibigyan tayo ng magarang studio at magkita tayo dun sa loob ng computer na yan.
Of
Di ba?
course, the way to earn the credits for that will be to do something. Yun ang question is how do you create that system of credit for people like us? So to earn some merit so that we will be able to enjoy.
Yan
And
na
that
rin
is
yun.
this is where the wealth ang sinasabi ko, this is where the wealth of the nation comes in.
Bakit?
Because if the wealth of the nation, yung yaman ng bayan, the natural resources and the people has more than trillions of, if the wealth is in the trillions or quintillions of that, you really don't need to work because you already have the credit for your lifetime. Even if your lifetime will run to 300 years, if each of us can continue to live for 300 to 500 years, there is enough wealth of the nation to take care of our needs over time. And then as we progress, we develop the other things, the wealth continues to build up. Diba? Hindi naman, yung wealth naman, hindi lang naman na i-consume ng consume rin eh. The very act of consuming also develop. When we are human, we can think, we can imagine, and come up with something new, which will add on to the wealth.
Well,
So yung nation will be able to gather that. That is the real wealth of the nation. Plus the technology, plus the artificial intelligence, plus the integration, assuming
nasa
angelic.
ang purpose niyan.
Oo. Pero kung pareho ni Santa Claus na hindi talaga Santa Claus, ay patay tayo lahat.
Claus pala. Okay. So, in closing, Ed, itong abangan natin kung baka sinister Claus talaga to, beneficial Claus. Hindi natin masabi yan sa ngayon kung ano talaga ang motibo nito, ha? Tayin-tayin lang natin. Pero kasi, syempre, mga ibang nag-a-analyze, sabi hindi masama daw talaga. Pero iba naman, excited na mangyari. Kasi daw, nakatali daw yung bakuna dito sa plano ni Santa Claus.
Yun ang problema because what we're saying is that if you look at the hidden agenda, the hidden agenda has sinister motives. There are dark motivations behind it.
Tama. Pero at least nakikita natin na talaga pala pwedeng mangyari yan na own natin but you'll still be happy. Dahil after all, hindi naman talaga natin madadala lahat eh. Kahit ba you own everything, hindi naman natin yan madadala kapag tayo ay lilisan na. Lahat yan ay for the experience only. For the privilege of using those things for your own enjoyment by which pwedeng i-compensate sa pamamagitan ng manufactured dreams. Programmable dreams. Pwede naman pala programa na yan eh. See you in Port Bonifacio, let's have dinner. Nagkita tayo doon sa program.
We don't even need to go to Bonifacio.
You don't even need to go to Bonifacio pero nandito tayo sa setting.
Virtual reality.
Virtual reality. Nakita tayo sa virtual reality. Kumain tayo ng steak. The sensation is there.
Ay, di talaga kakain ako ng steak dito sa akin.
Okay. Sige, balik tayo mamaya. Let's take a break. And then, para basahin natin yung ating mga komentaryo at may mga katanungan ang ating mga manonood. So, yan lamang po for tonight, yung aming discussion and you're free to react. Mag-drop lamang po ng inyong komentaryo sa ating chat box. Huwag po kayong bibitaw. Kami magbabalik following this reminder. Okay, Ed. Basahin muna natin mga komentaryo. Maganda itong aking natutunan ko today. Pwede tayong magkita mag-rendezvous tayo sa loob ng computer program, ha? Kaya yung ginagawa nung araw, no? Yung avatar lang natin, yung picture-picture ni kung anong kengko yun. Chat na tayo, nakikipagligawan na. So, Philippine, the biblical land of Philippines, gandang gabi, Santa Klaus Schwab is coming to town. Ami Saijer Mangkoy ng Hong Kong. Good evening sa iyo, Ami. Kay Cheryl Mali. Good evening sa Ranton at kay Mangardo. Lahat ng tagapakinig. Kay Julie Fernandez, gandang gabi. Nilda Bukiren, ang ating paboritong belly dancer at a motorcycle rider. Si Nilda. Exotic dancer yan. Professional.
May video ba yan? May video?
Meron silang show ng mga dancers, mga exotic dancers. Meron silang video sa YouTube. Cultural to.
Cultural,
And maano rin to, motorcycle rider. And of course, ayaw niya magpabakuna. Kay Marlon na rin siya. Good PM po. Kay Marivic, maayong gabi sa Ranton, si Red Doc Harry, og sa tanan, maayong gabi. Marivic Ed.
Magandang gabi.
Ay, si ano nga po pala, si Ka Felix Pohas, ng ating kaibigan sa Boca Mistica. Pagaling kagad Ka Felix
Anyway, may nagbabantay naman sa kanya.
Wala Alam natin na pagkaganon wala
Wala ba?
Oo. Lang yan, video camera lang. Braveheart. The mixing of iron and clay sa Revelation ay huli. At pang-apat na kingdom, ito na ata ang Great Reset, Fourth Industry Revolution. Pwede.
Sabihin, the clay is the physical, the biological.
Si Francis, kasama natin yung naging co-host ko, guest co-host, dahil wala si Mang Ardo. Kamusta na? Kamusta kay Rosa?
Siko?
Good morning. Good to see you, Ka Anton. Ka-Ed, steady na ang paggaling po. Thank you. Steady na. Buti na lang, sabi, kasi may naka-text ako na ating na mga kaibigan natin. Sabi, baka COVID na yan. Kinabahan tuloy ako.
Minsan may psychosomatic yan.
Di. Parang no? Ako, ganyan din naramdaman ko kasi ika niya, na-COVID daw siya. Nagkaroon ng stomach cramps at nag-ivermectin ako.
Ako yung sabi ko sa iyo, may ginawa akong repair dito sa harap. Di ginawa ko, nag-take ako that day kasi may dalawang taong tumutulong Nag-take ako ng Iber.
Berhard. Sabi mo, mga good evening. Ano topic ngayon? Yung kanina pinag-usapan namin. Ni Klaus Schwab. Tinatawag niya ang Fourth Industry Revolution. Mangyayari dahil nandiyan na lahat ng recados. Good evening, Canton. Si Red Mary, Silvia Loteo, Shooting Rock Music. Magandang gabi, Canton Makaardo. Raymil Songsong, good evening. Kay Lena Leona. Roberto Celis. Hi, Robert. Good evening, Canton. Nag-meeting nga pala kami kanina dito sa ating mga kasama sa Iloilo. Yung aming grupo na Kasangga Iloilo. At yung mga Ilonggo Patriots na magkaroon kami. Nirekomenda ko o pinungkahi ko na magkaroon kami ng General Assembly. At mag-elect ng leader. Kasi mahirap na organisasyon kapag walang leader. It's bound to fail. At para mag-elect kami ng leader, kung sinong kikilalanin, tagapasimuno ng organisasyon. Adelpha Abonin, good evening from Ormoc City. It's a late. Ormoc, Galvan Etan.
Now.
Eugenio Balakwit. Ay, naku, kamusta na Eugenio Balakwit? Good to see you. Eugenio Balakwit. Watching your program makes my weekend complete. Ay, thank you, Day. Thank you, Inday Maribe.
Domo.
Pangkaso rin ako. Nag-relapse, sabi ni Robert Celis. Ito pa kami kaibigan at COVID yan, COVID. Mapapa-COVID ka rin.
Kasi the problem kasi is that yung ginagamit natin PCR ngayon, kahit flu, pag check sa'yo na may flu ka, ang sabihin, COVID. Pero biyag.
Pero buyan. Oo. Pero inamin naman ni Duterte na may ano eh. Inamin naman ni Duterte na faulty. Yan, inamin naman ni Duterte. Pero kaya nakapuntos tayo doon ha. Ang aminin ni Duterte na faulty yung PCR test. Good evening, Sir Anton, Sir Red Ferdinand de Velas. Ay, kay Maiza Beris Garcia. Gandang gabi, Anton Caardo. Mabuhay and more power. Thank you. Francis Tanseco, lawyers are the biggest threat to our justice system. Religions are the biggest threat to our spiritual growth. Educational authority are the biggest threat to our learning. Governments are the biggest threat. Mainstream media are the biggest threat to us getting factual and real information. Hi, Freddy, kay Lipo. Oy, na-tempuhan ko rin. Akala ko wala na, meron pa pala.
Nasa Escape pa ba siya? Escape pa rin si Lipo.
Yes, oo. May project kami, nagpaplano kami magkaroon ng project. Pang YouTube. Nakakatawa yun. Big Pharma, the biggest threat to our good and perfect health. Bakulam are the biggest threat to our immune system, and on and on. Statement by Francis Francesco. Braveheart, human being is the biggest threat. Soulless humans, not human being. Mga walang kaluluwa. Hindi ko natanong. Nanong ka kay Rosa yun, ano? Ang kaluluwa na kaibigan niya, 1300 pa raw yun. Tandang kaluluwa na. Robert, evil human beings are a threat to good humans. Talaga na. Maria Cleotilde Kimilat. Bidiha, Sir Anton. Gabi.
Maadyong gabi.
Adyong taknaa. Sinaida, Sinsano, Adriano, busy po, Sir Anton, sa lahat. Thank you. Henry, Kuya Henry, GPS can detect you wherever you are. Meanwhile, XPS driver can monitor you when your computer is in exploring process. XPS. Ano ba yung XPS? Utility ba yun sa computer? Good evening sa inyong lahat. Jojo Singalibo. Romel Kaingin, good evening sa iyo, Romel. At kay Sir Ayad. Boy Singke, magandang gabi. At sa inyong dalawa, boy, magandang gabi sa iyo, ha? Shooting Rock, hindi po makikita ang data sa blockchain. Makikita mo lang ay yung coin address or yung BTC, Bitcoin, add transaction ID. Pero kung sino gumagamit ng transaction, di siya available sa blockchain. Ganun daw yata ito kasigpit. Ay, Faye, magandang gabi. Regards sa ating QPECOG 999. Jojo Singalibo, so pwede na tayo magpabaksin para makapasok sa virtual reality. Ed? Ano?
Patuloy. I was thinking yung sinabi niya tungkol sa blockchain. Kasi yung blockchain kasi for every transaction, there is a ledger, di ba? And the ledger is replicated in all the accounts that has access to the blockchain. So if you have access, if you have an account on the blockchain, then you can look at the ledger in terms of the transactions that has occurred.
Okay.
Maybe specific to you. So in terms of the election kung naka-blockchain yung election, masiguro mo na yung boto mo is reflected as the boto for person X and hindi nila tinranspose to person Y. Kasi yung vote mo ngayon nandun na sa ledger. So if you voted for person X, hindi na mapalitan yan. Pero makita mo yan, you know that that is your transaction.
Abang-abang nga pala yung speaking of votes, yung Arizona audit. Pero hindi ko pa namomonitor yan. Mabati natin yung mga nasa ating Ang
That would
nasa
be
ating
interesting to learn. No?
nasa ating Telegram radio, radio style Telegram, nandyan si Linda Nocum, Alfred Francisco, Alfredo, ay si Romel Acuin, kay kay Dais, kay Edward Cabrillo, kay Docari, magandang gabi niya Docari, at kay Florante Fernando ng sa Espanya, si Flora, no? At kasama si
So
Prof.
they can hear our broadcast via
Ah,
audio. Yan, good. That's good.
maganda sa Telegram kasi yung hindi matakaw yan sa bandwidth, no?
Ah,
Hi, Madam Elizabeth. Shout out QPEG of 999. Watching both of you. Good evening and more power to your show. No more elections next year. Cheryl Mali, good evening po. Watching from North Cotabato. Uy, maganda dyan. Sarap
maganda
dyan.
yan.
Sa
I've
North
been to Matalam. I've been to Matalam. Ano part pa ba sa North Cotabato yun? Matalam.
Di ba
Nakapunta ako.
after North Cotabato, Bukidnon na ba?
North Cotabato, Marawi.
Marami
I think it's Lanao del Sur, kung hindi ko nakamali.
Dun
think-
sa kabilang daan. Sa Iligan, ano?
Yun nasa, parang, kung yan triangle. Bukidnon,
Okay.
Lanao del Sur, at saka Cotabato.
Braveheart, paano kaya ang vaccine ngayon ay pinapasok sa katawan ng tao para hindi ma-reject ang isusunod nila na technology, papasok din daw sa katawan? Pwede nga kasi baka kailangan ng mga particles na i-introduce para ma-improve yung connectivity. Fourth Industrial Revolution means 500 million people. Si Gordon sabi ni Lipo-Lipin, si Gordon sinabi kanina kahapon sa hearing, young daw is part of the cabal. No? Oo nga, sinabi nga ni Gordon yun.
Minsan kasi, yung I was listening to one podcaster, sabi niya, if you think of the 1%, yung the elite of the elite of the elite, the 1%, if you have 1% of 8 billion, 8 billion na tayo ngayon, di ba? 8 billion, B. 1% of 8 billion is what? 80 million. 80 million. Kasi kung 10% yan, that's 10% 800 million. So that's 80 million. So you have 80 million of the elite, the 1%. That needs, kung itong 80 million na to, this is the globalist. And then, kung talaga masunod gusto nila, 500 million na lang. The 500 million is not enough. Is not enough to service what they need. Airports alone will need more than 500 million. Yung mga pagtakbo ng mga kotse, servicing the car, yung agriculture, the food, will require more than 500 million. If there are 80 million, di ba? Correct ba yan? 80 million ang 1%.
Pero yan na nga, pag hindi habang wala pa yung tinatawag niyang virtual reality o augmented reality.
You have to accept the reality is that you differentiate between your consciousness inside and the digital world and your physical. Your physical will still require food.
Siyempre.
Because if you start living in a virtual reality and you don't eat, you die.
Tama. Parang yung
You still need food.
Parang pelikulang Somewhere in Time.
Kung magpa-injection ka lang yan, mayroong nag-feed sa'yo ng pagkain, gano'n. And then you live in the virtual world. You still need a nurse. You still need a robot to continue feeding you.
Tama.
Or cut off your head and then your brain will just be the one floating in a jar connected to the internet.
Gano'n na lang. It will send you into some endless sleep. Kabi ni Ferdy, si Gordon, sinabi kahapon sa hearing, yang is part of the cabal. They know, mga medical cabal.
Ang problema, ang problema mo yung the whole caboodle about the Senate investigation, Parmali, and all of that. Ang palagi sinasabi ko sa iyo, Canton, bakit ngayon lang? If I became president and I said I will fight corruption, the first thing I will do is I will ask Commission on Audit, sino bang mga corrupt dyan? Nakalista sa inyo disallowed items, hindi pa sinusuli. He should have done it on the day that he sat. Not ngayon na mayroon nang nagbabatiko sa kanya, ngayon lang binabalik niya.
Ang
Di ba?
masakit nito hindi ito regular na corrupt actions di ba? Corruption talagang nandiyan na yan. Pero mayroong tinatawag na okay na regular. Pero ito, nasa emergency tayo, nasa pandemic tayo, tapos ginawa nila yun, nakakahiya.
Irrespective of, ang sa akin dyan is that the morality, all government officials has a fiduciary, yung their monetary is a fiduciary trust. Yun ang term. Fiduciary. They are holding the money for us because it is not them that own the money, it is the people. And they are holding that money in trust for us. So that presupposes the proper management of that money.
Kaya nga.
So hindi nila, they should put it in their minds, and we should put it in our minds. That is our money, irrespective of whether we are senior, because we have already contributed our share. I have been paying the tax for the last 45 years.
Kaya siguro na yung iba makikita nila kung bakit ako umalis yan sa industry na yan. Talagang madumi. Madaling yumaman. Kung hindi ako umalis, hindi super billionaire na ako ngayon.
Sana malaki na estasyon natin ngayon.
Ay, baka gano'n. No?
Pero what I keep is, ang talaga ngayon, the promise that he will fight corruption. Wala.
Kasama siya sa kabal. Jojit Cruz, good evening, Sir Anton. Sir Red, gandang gabi po. Sabi ni Nene Maming, virtual topic natin ngayon. Sana naging virtual corruption na lang yun. Sigurado, hindi na sila Bakit wala na sa YouTube? Sabi ni Alan. Napag-initan tayo, Alan, ng mga medical cabal. Dahil kilala ko yung ibang players. Kaya pinag-initan yung ating rip list, pinag-initan yung mga bagay na nire-report ko lang, nakabase naman dun sa report ng Inquirer, ng Rappler, pinag-initan at talagang nilabelan na medical misinformation gayong hindi naman.
Baka itong ginagawa natin ngayon, baka maban na matanggal na naman ito.
Dahil yung mga medical cabal, kilala ko yun. Yung isa nandun kahapon yung sa hearing nandun
Si Manay.
Si Manay? Hindi
si Yang, si Dandan, yung sumasayaw dance.
Hindi, si Lichon, si Tony Lichon.
Yung Lichon Baboy.
Lichon. Pfizer executive yun
Ayun. Yung mga ganun ba na obvious yung kanilang yung bias. And then they try to represent themselves as for the people when in fact they are not really.
Madumi. Nakakasuka talaga. Anyway, pero nakakaano rin. Ewan ko. Sige,
ano ba yung term gamitin mo? Nakakatuwa rin?
Nakakatuwa din. Kung talagang ganid ka. Nag-i-enjoy ka sa makamundong binibiro mo naman, sabi ni 18.5 million lang. Natin kapal nung Iranian na yun. Yung si Dagani.
Iranian or Indian?
Iranian, tsaka mukhang Iranian yun. Ganung mukha yung Iranian yun. May kilala kong ganyang mukha Iranian. Ayan. Hindi ko. Nakakasuka. Yan talaga yan ang scamdemic talaga. Scamdemic.
And that is
no?
Not call it any other term. It's plunder.
Plunder. That's it. Dapat bitayin yung mga yan. Tanong lang po, si Kabal ba nag-evolve to be automatic Kabal kapag yumaman lang gaya ni Pacman o may samahan talaga lahat ng mga Kabal po?
When you become para sa akin ganito there is a ruling elite that has really that seems to have gotten their power through bloodline. In other words, yung top of, yung may bloodline talaga sila. Kaya nilagay sila doon sa itaas. And the second level, meron yung mga mayayaman na who are placed in a position of power because they have the money and they have the connections. I mean, because of the money that they have gathered, starts to have the connection with the elite, and the elites take advantage of the power of money. So, ini-influence sila. How do they influence? Take for example yung case ni yung si Gatis, William Gates. Diba? Under the yung paano, bakit naghiwalay sila ni Melinda? No? And I think it seems to have I mean, parang tayo, nag-presuppose lang yan, tayong haka-haka lang, pero baka dahil yun kasi naging kaibigan at saka palagi siyang lumilipad ng
Jeffrey Epstein, di ba?
Special, yung special plane. Doon siya sumasakay.
Ano yung kanyang special din yung kanyang sexual pleasure.
Yun.
Yung akin naman dito, Ed, yung aking interpretation sa kabal, may connotation na lang yan, minsan, Ferdi, nakokonota lang siya as member ng secret society, secret organization, o secret mga corrupt organizations, o secret mga kawatan in nakakontodo Amerikana. Ayan, anuhan na lang sila nakabal. Basta somebody na involved yan sa sindikato.
Pero
minsan,
para sa akin, hindi naman kailangan Amerikana eh.
Ano?
Kasi ang iba dyan, parang SAS, nakakuan. Ano yan? Yung
nakasash lang ng ganun.
Nakasaya lang.
Anong tawag nun? Anong tawag nila? Yung sablay. Na UP. O yun, meron ka lang nun. Pwede ka nang maging kabal. Gaya ni yung mga nagpipredict ng Ngayon, hindi na sila pinaniniwalaan. Sabi nung ni Guido, bumababa na ang kaso ng COVID. Wala na naniniwala sa kanila.
Sabi ko the correct way is when how many coincidences do you need before it stops becoming a coincidence? What is the probability of 4 members in the family going to the great beyond at the same time?
Kaya nga.
Yung mga ganyan.
I see, Direct Mel.
Pinagot ba tayo? We are not worth the attention.
Attention because you have low subscription number.
No subscription number.
Insignificant. You are such an insignificant podcaster. Direct Mel. Ay, magandang gabi sa'yo, Direct Mel Lugod. Go lang, Kanton. The truth will set us free. And then, Maming, yun nga ang future ng mga vax. Matapos na ma-upgrade into Marxists, they are no longer human to feel sad part of Luciferese. Pwede. Yung mga ganyang kasi kasama dyan sa program yata ni Klaus Schwab, yung genetic alterations. Kasama daw yan. Can we have a topic?
I've always been saying, Canton, when you get that special chemical, you are modified. And when you become modified, you are saleable.
Okay. Ang sabi ni Ferdi, can we have a topic po one time about Kabbalism? Different types of kabal. Oh, maganda yan. Para magkaroon ng kabal, ha?
Hindi kasama ko, ano yan, yung Hebrew? Depende kasi yun, merong yung technical or yung spiritual.
May technical, may nominal, merong terminology.
Merong pang dark yan. The dark side of the Kabal.
Yan. Magsimula tayo din sa Kabala. Di ba? Pag-usapan natin yung Kabala. Panahon pa ni Solomon yan. Kabala na yan. Pag-jumble-jumble ng mga salita. Kaya pag yung mga mantra nang naririnig mo sa media, ano bang mga mantra ngayon, Ed? May mga mantra sila ngayon 12 to 17 years old, 12 to 17 years old. Lahat yan sasabihin nila sabay-sabay, 12 to 17 years old. magparehistro na. Ayan, gawa yan ng kabal kasi yung frequency na nababanggit, laging sinasambit, parang panalangin, inuulit-ulit mo eh. Nagkakaroon ng tendency, nag-i-improve yung tendency na magkatotoo. Natulad dun sa panalangin. Kaya sabi, bakit yung Katoliko, pag nagdadasal, paulit-ulit, kasama dyan yung yung kabala doon. Na
Because
inuulit.
we are assaulting the heavens with our prayers.
Yan, assaulting the heavens. Kaya parang
Assaulting the
binubomba.
heavens with our prayers until they become so irritated with the repetition. They will
Yes.
just grant it to you.
Sinabi ba ng mga Hiswictarian sa'yo, Ed? Ganun ba yun?
Sarili mo. You assault the heavens. Yan, sinabi sa akin yan. You assault the heavens with your prayers.
Hanggang sa mairita na yung anghel.
Bigay mo na, ibigay. Bigay mo na yan. Para mahinto na yan.
Bigyan mo na yan, para mahinto na. Ganun yun. Part yan ng kabal, inuulit-ulit. Pero sa Christian, hindi na. Paulit-ulit. Kailangan, unique. Hindi nakakarating dun sa taas. Pag sinabi mo palang ganun, hindi pa nakakabot dun sa bubungan ng chapel ninyo, ng inyong kongregasyon. Hindi hanggang dun lang. Hindi pa nakaka-penetrate at paakyat dun sa langit.
Pero the other side to it is that when you pray, the words you express is an energy. And normally you direct that prayer to a representation. So in the case of the rosary, you have the Virgin Mary. So when you are praying to the Virgin Mary, you are expressing an energy to that icon.
Hindi
So
lang naman
nag-i-istorya ng energy.
Kasi nakaharap tayo din ba, sa kaharap ka sa Virgin Maria. Yung mga Buddhist, nakaharap naman din kay Buddha. Yung beads nila, grocery na rin yan nila yan, di ba? Parang gano'n.
The point is that who is if prayers, the words you express is an energy form and it is embedded into something, who absorbs that energy, who uses that energy.
Kaya merong hymno, may tone. Non-stop corruption is Kabbalism. May word bang gano'n mga kuya? Not exactly, not necessarily na Kabbalism ay kuno ano ka-associated kagad sa corruption. Kabbalism can be everything. Kabbalism can be magic.
Ano ba term yan? Yung the erosion of morality to its darkest form.
Giko Goody. Good evening po Kanton mga Ardo. Yung iba po ay nakaabeto sa miyembro ng mga kabalots. Combination of kabals and sanots. Kabalots! Sinabi mo pa. Lizelle, Berame Cantones. Uy, good to see you back. Wow, live pala tayo. Good evening. Baka si Ferdi, si Lipo-Lipi, kontakin ka. Yan ang pigan po yung paulit-ulit, sabi ni Maming. Pero nga sabi ni Ed, we have to attack the heavens so that the angels will get irritated and they will heed to your call.
You assault the heavens with your prayers.
Assault the heavens with your prayers. Galing talaga ni Sir Ardo, walang kupas. Si Lizelle, hi po, sir. Shout out to you and all. Thank you, Lizelle. Mga bitaw. Taga Cebu yan si Lizelle. Okay. So,
pareho tayong sinultian.
pareho tayong sinultian. Okay, Ed. So, kung ano ta? Ito na.
Good night na ba ta?
Mahimo kami extend. Extend ko mo.
Ayun na
1 hour and a half. Fair enough. Para hindi na
let's say our thanks to the people who has listened and joined us. And thank you to those who will be listening. Makikinig sa atin later.
Parang reunion tayo ngayon. Start small again. Alright, sige. Thank you, Ed. Siguro next time, mag-ano natin yung Kabal, Orient. Ano na natin yan at yung ating guest from Argentina, sasabihan ko. Sir Mali, good evening. Good evening, Sir Cheryl. Oh, gwapa to siya. Pero nasa Germany siya.
Ganun ba? Akala ko sa nasa Argentina.
Wala, Argentina siya na pero nakatira na siya sa Germany.
So, Sprachen Sie Deutsch?
Podcast. Deutsch.
Sprachen
Ed.
Sie Deutsch?
Thank you, Ed, ha? Hanggang sa susunod
You're
na episode.
welcome. You're welcome all the time.
Willkommen. Okay, so maraming salamat at pahabol natin. Tapos na pala, sayang katatapos lang. Mag-replay na lang. Thank you, Lizelle. At syempre, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga nakasama natin sa pamamagitan ng Telegram. Nandiyan si Florante Fernando, kay Doc Harry, kay Edward Cabilio, kay Alfred Francisco, kay Linda Nocum. Maraming salamat. Hanggang sa susunod. And, teka muna, ha? Tapos na tayo rito eh. And of course, sa mga nakasama natin dito at nag-comment, maraming salamat muli hanggang sa susunod na pagtatangal. Ito si Ka Anton, giwan sa lahat ng isa pong magandang gabi at mapayapa at blessed Sunday to everyone.